The moose calf waded through the mire in slow, uncertain steps, his long legs sinking into the cold peat with a wet, sucking sound. Every morning of his short life, this wetland greeted him the same way, thick fog curling low across the mosses, rising from black pools, drifting through stands of stunted spruce like breath from the earth itself. The world always softened at dawn, light filtering through mist until day arrived in gentle pale waves. But today the mire lay exposed. No fog drifted along the hollows, no mist rose from the dark water, no white curtain hid the shapes of trees, and the dawn, silent above the horizon, refused to brighten. The calf lifted his head, ears swivelling. His nostrils flared as he searched for familiar moisture in the air. The scent of moss, water, and cold soil remained, but the moisture that should have condensed into fog simply hung there, heavy, unshaped, refusing to fall. He blinked toward the distant tree line. He could see too far. He shouldn't be able to. The mire was never this clear. It was a place of ghosts and muted shapes, where predators moved unseen and moose calves learned to trust sound over sight. But now the air was bare, revealing every twisted stump and every ripple on the shallow pools. The calf's mother appeared atop a low rise of sphagnum. Her tall form was dark against the horizon, legs long and steady. She approached him, snorted softly, and nudged his side. He answered with a small, wavering bleat. They stood together, uneasy. The world felt uncovered. The cow lifted her head towards the horizon. Dawn should have cast a faint wash of amber across the open sky. Instead, a dull grey glow hung there, stagnant. No shift of colour, no strengthening light. Dawn was present, but not developing. The moose cow moved forward, guiding her calf deeper into the mire where water mirrored the sky in still pools. He followed, legs splashing, but something about the sound seemed too sharp. Fog normally softened noises, filling the air with a muted calm. Without it, every drip, every splash, every breaking stem felt exposed. The calf stopped suddenly. A raven perched on a dead tree above them croaked once, harsh, unfiltered. Usually its call echoed strangely in the fog, but today it carried without distortion, too clear, too direct. The calf flinched. The raven shook its wings, unsettled by the clarity as well. The moose cow stepped into a deeper channel. Black peat water rose to her chest. She expected the calf to follow, but he hesitated, staring into the reflective surface. Without fog covering it, the water became a mirror too sharp, too open. He snorted, lowered his head, and finally plunged in. The channel rippled outward, sending rings across the smooth surface. They travelled farther than usual, uninterrupted by any mist. Something moved in the shallows to their left. A beaver swimming with unusual urgency, leaving a V-shaped wake behind it. Beavers usually travelled under fog cover, relying on low visibility to protect themselves. But today the beaver looked exposed, its shape obvious against the clear water. It slapped its tail once in alarm. The sound cracked across the mire, loud, far louder than normal. Fog would have swallowed that sound. Without it, everything echoed. The moose calf pressed against his mother's flank nervously. They continued ahead, but the light still refused to change. Dawn lingered as an eternal half-state, never dark, never bright. Even the birds noticed. A pair of loons sat still on a distant pool, calling softly, uncertainly. They waited for the sun's colour shift to trigger their daily routines. It never came. The calf watched them, confused. He climbed out of the channel, hooves sinking into spongy ground. Frost still clung to some moss patches, yet nothing melted, nothing warmed. Dawn stayed cold, uncommitted. A red squirrel appeared on a fallen log nearby. It chittered loudly, tail flicking. Normally squirrels kept low in foggy mornings, relying on vision only when mist lifted. But today, with visibility too sharp, it moved cautiously, unsure of how exposed it was. The moose cow tilted her head upward again. Still no strengthening of the light. She took a breath, long, slow, troubled, and continued forward toward a strip of dwarf birches. The calf walked behind her, each step tentative. He had never seen the mire without fog. He had never known a dawn that failed to brighten. The cow stopped suddenly. Her ears flicked back, her body stiffened. The calf froze. A wolf appeared on a distant ridge, its silhouette unmistakable against the dull sky. But something was off. Wolves almost never revealed themselves so clearly in the early hours. Fog concealed them until they were close. Without the mist, the wolf seemed unsure how to approach. It prowled left, then right, then sat, confused by a landscape that no longer behaved according to scent and sound rules it depended on. Fog normally trapped scents, holding them low. Today, scents lifted too quickly. The wolf sniffed the air repeatedly, failing to fix the direction of prey. This bought the moose pair time. The cow moved directly into a dense stand of birches, pushing through branches with force. The calf followed, brushing twigs aside. They found a small hollow sheltered by spruce roots and waited there, watching the wolf move along the ridge in uncertain patterns. The calf breathed hard. The air felt wrong. The silence felt wrong. And still, dawn remained unmoving. A pair of humans emerged far across the mire near a weather monitoring station, their bright jackets easy to see in the clear air. They adjusted instruments, checked screens, exchanged hurried words. Humidity levels are standard, one said, but no fog formation at all. Zero visibility drop. Even with these temperatures, it's like the condensation point shifted. Dawn brightness curve isn't increasing either. It's stuck. The atmosphere isn't transitioning. Their voices carried across the open wetland too clearly. The moose calf flattened himself against the roots. He didn't understand humans, but he understood tension. Everyone in the mire felt it today. His mother finally stepped from the hollow, lowered her head, and nudged him forward. They moved again, across unreal clarity, across silent pools, through a dawn that refused to become day. As they crossed another stretch of bog, the calf paused and looked upward. He had expected the sky to lighten by now. Instead, it hovered in the same indistinct grey, like a moment frozen. Fog would not rise. Fog would not fall. And dawn, for reasons no animal or human could yet understand, would not brighten. He bleated softly and pressed himself close to his mother. The mire felt unguarded, unshielded, and as he stepped into the cold, mirror-still pool ahead, he understood the quiet, unsettling truth. The world was awake, but the dawn wouldn't brighten. By the second morning, the moose calf sensed the wrongness before he lifted his head from the moss. His sleep had been shallow, punctured by strange echoes, sharper sounds, and a persistent grey glow filtering through the spruce branches above. He rose slowly, joints stiff from cold that should have softened with daylight, but daylight had never come. The mire lay in the same half-lit haze, not night, not day, a suspended hour that refused to turn. The calf blinked several times at the horizon. The sky was the exact colour it had been when he drifted into sleep, pale silver-grey, dull, soft at the edges, but without deepening shadows or brightening tones. The sun hid somewhere above the cloud layer, but its light did not intensify. It remained caught in some invisible threshold. His mother stood nearby, steam rising faintly from her nostrils. She pawed at a patch of reindeer moss, but her movements were slow, her breathing deliberate. Moose depended on incremental warming to begin their foraging day. Sunrise coaxed them into motion, brought insects, thawed frost on plants, opened water channels. But without a true dawn, her instincts couldn't read the air properly. The calf stepped into a shallow pool, expecting the water to reflect brightening sky, but the reflection was the same as yesterday's, dull grey, unmoving. The pool looked like time trapped in liquid form. He walked forward, deeper into the mire, hooves sinking into mud softened by cold that never shifted toward warmth. Wisps of vapour sometimes rose from these pools at sunrise, but none appeared. The air held moisture but refused to shape it. Birds reacted first. A willow ptarmigan called somewhere on a tussock, but its call sounded uncertain, off-tempo. The species synchronized its daily rhythm to light patterns. Dimness without change left it confused. 2 ptarmigans flew across the mire, wings whirring loudly in the open air, but they flew too low, too unpredictably. Without increasing brightness, they could not judge distance well. A pair of geese landed near a peat bed. They honked, short, irritated sounds, then paced in circles, heads bobbing in growing agitation. They normally departed at sunup to feed in distant ponds, but with no brightening, their internal clocks faltered. The calf's mother turned toward the tree line, ears flicking forward. She listened carefully. Predators used dawn transitions to hunt. Today, there was no transition. Their timing was collapsing. A fox appeared near a broken stump, nose low, tail flicking. Its coat glowed faintly in the dim light. Too visible. It hesitated, unsure of whether it was late for hunting or early. It changed direction twice before disappearing behind a cluster of birches. The calf breathed deeply. His breath clouded softly, not as steam, but in a strange way, as if the air's temperature remained static. Warm breath didn't dissipate properly. It hung, suspended too long, merging with the half-light. He pressed his nose to his mother's flank, seeking reassurance. She nudged him forward, and together they crossed a patch of floating moss mats that usually glistened when the sun hit dew. Today, the dew stayed cold, unmoved. A raven swooped overhead. Instead of riding morning thermals upward, it flapped heavily, as if waiting for an updraft that never came. It croaked out a call, not its usual confident echo, but a hollow note swallowed too quickly by the sky. The raven circled twice, then landed on a leaning spruce, staring at the horizon as if expecting the sun to reveal itself at last. Still nothing changed. The moose calf and his mother moved deeper into the wetland, where water pooled among boulders covered in pale green lichen. They drank in silence. Even the water tasted different, flat, cold, as though it hadn't been stirred by the usual morning winds. A sudden splash startled the calf. He spun, ears high. A beaver surfaced near its lodge, shook water from its face, and slapped its tail, not in alarm, but in confusion. Its daily routine depended on changing light levels, gathering branches at dawn, repairing lodges, marking territory. But with dawn frozen in place, it hesitated, swimming in circles, diving, surfacing again. It slapped once more, louder. The sound carried strangely, farther than the calf expected. Fog normally dampened such echoes. Without fog, the slap cracked across the mire like a warning shot. The moose pair tensed. A shape moved at the northern edge of the bog. A wolf. But even the predator looked disoriented. Its pacing lacked confidence. It sniffed repeatedly at the air, but the air held no thermal signals. Without changing sunlight, scent trails behaved unpredictably. Warm pockets didn't form. Cold pockets didn't shift. The wolf sniffed a tuft of grass, growled low, then moved on, its timing broken. The moose cow led her calf into a dense spruce cluster where shadows remained constant. Here, the dimness felt natural, not imposed by the sky. They stopped to eat lichen draped across fallen logs, tearing it with slow, deliberate bites. The calf chewed quietly. He swallowed. He looked upward again. Still the dawn refused to brighten. Somewhere nearby, humans arrived at the research station again. Their voices travelled across the open bog, sharper today without fog to blur them. Second day without radiative increase. Cloud behaviour is normal, but the light curve is stuck. Fog formation still 0, saturation point unchanged. It's like the atmosphere refuses the transition today. Wildlife activity cycles are breaking down. Moose moved at the wrong hours last night. Birds aren't dispersing. We need to expand monitoring. Something's off with the thermal balance. Their tone was tight, urgent. The calf didn't understand words, but he understood urgency. As the humans left, the bog fell silent again. No insects buzzed, no frogs croaked. Even the distant trees seemed to pause, waiting for a sun that refused to rise fully. The moose calf climbed onto a hummock for a better view. The horizon glowed exactly as it had the day before, weakly, stubbornly, suspended in the limbo between night and morning. He took a hesitant step forward, then another. The mire around him seemed frozen in time, every sheet of water reflecting the same dull sky, every shadow refusing to move, every creature waking into a world that stayed half asleep. The calf pressed against his mother again, trembling slightly, because now even a young animal understood. The day was here. But the dawn wouldn't brighten.